Have you ever tried explaining something to someone, but they just couldn't get it? You try to explain a concept, for example, to someone, but they're too dumb to understand. Bro, that's so frustrating. Imagine knowing something in, like, let's say bodybuilding, for example. You know so much about bodybuilding, and you talk with a newbie, you talk with a person that just started going to the gym, and you explain them you need to eat 1 pound, what, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. You try to you need to do bicep curls like this, you need to focus on the form, and you look at them and they're barely eating, they're barely getting the calorie they need for the day, and they do bicep curls using momentum and just throwing the weight up. And you try to tell them again, you don't need to do it like this. You're wasting so many gains. You're leaving so many gains on the table. You need to do it like this, bro. And you look at them again from across the gym, same thing, doing it like this. Or let's say you escaped video games. You already know my perspective about video games. So let's say you already escaped, you stopped playing them, and you realize how good your life is now because you stopped playing them. You stopped wasting your life on them. And you tell your friends, your family about it. You tell your dumbest friends that are playing nonstop, wasting their sleep away for this, and you try to explain them. Don't play video games, bro. You're literally wasting your life for something, for the fake world. Why don't you put your efforts into doing the real world stuff, into leveling up in the real world? And they don't listen. Or they agree with you, but they don't listen. No, bro. I'll just need to relax at the end of the day. You could still work hard and still relax by playing some video games at the end of the day, bro. Don't worry, I know better than you. It's so annoying, bro. And I realized I've gotten a bit off topic. Treat people like they're dumb. When you try to explain something to them, especially something more advanced, something you know more of, try to get your level a bit lower. So let's say you speak with a person that just started going to the gym. It's hard for them to understand compound lifts or supersets or mega sets or something. It's hard for them to understand this, especially if they just started going and they have no idea what the gym is. You need to break it down into really simple things that they could understand. So instead of telling them you need to do compound lifts 5 times a week for fucking testosterone, they don't understand any of it. So just tell them, do bench press 5 times a week. Do this movement 5 times a week. He will be more likely to understand you and put it into practice. If you tell them the consequences, of course, he will be more likely to listen to you because he will understand it. You talked with him to his level of understanding. It's a lot better to speak to a person like they don't understand you than it is to speak to them at a higher level. So let's say you talk to a person that's in 5th grade. It's a lot better to speak to the person like they're in 2nd grade compared to speaking to them like they're in 8th grade. The person that's in 5th grade may not even understand the words that you're talking about. But if you talk to him or with him in simple English, terms he understands, then he will understand you. Does that make sense? So from now on, you will save so much time and embarrassment and frustration if you speak to people around you, to your friends, and if you act towards them like they're dumb. Don't make it obvious. Of course, don't tell them, oh, you're dumb. Just speak in a friendlier way. Like you would talk with a person that doesn't have any idea what they're talking about. And more importantly, lay out the ground before talking. So let's say you start talking about compound lifts, or let's say you're talking about going to the gym. Before you start the whole conversation, you tell them, oh, so you can do compound lifts 2 times a week. Compound lifts are this, and you explain it to them. You can do pull-ups twice a week, like pull-ups, This simple, like pull-ups, will make it so easy for them to understand. If they're a beginner, even if they're a beginner or if they're more advanced. Because the person that's a beginner will feel so grateful because he didn't understand, and by doing this, he understood. But the person that's more advanced may not even understand, right? May not even not understand. Like, may not even realize that you did it. Their subconscious will understand it. So like if you like this, the person might not realize that you did it, but he will understand that you did it. Let's say you try to teach a person about learning, and you tell them the Pomodoro technique, or fasting, or doing this and this. Maybe the person doesn't know what fasting is. Maybe the person doesn't know about the Pomodoro technique. Lay out the grounds. Talk to them like they don't know. Simply, like they don't know. And you try to show them the path. So you tell them about productivity hacks. You don't tell them, oh, fast. Fast and you will be more productive. Tell them, don't eat anything to have higher levels of attention, or to have more attention instead of using higher levels. Speak a bit easier for them to understand. You can be more productive by working for 90 minutes and then taking a break and then working for another 90 minutes. Or if you want to do the Pomodoro, I don't even know the Pomodoro technique, bro. You can work for 25 minutes and then take a 10-minute break and repeat. And that's been shown to be the most productive thing. Talk to them like this. Why is my laptop fucking taking off? And it's gonna be beneficial. I hope it's not disturbing you. I hope, and it's gonna be more beneficial if you act towards them like they're dumb. So this is a habit that I'm trying to get into. My brothers are really addicted to playing video games, and I'm trying to make them quit for a long time. But I'm talking to them like a person that's already quit playing video games. And they don't listen, bro. They don't listen, but I'm trying. And I tell them about the benefits. But they don't listen, bro. And I try to break it down into extremely small concepts. I try to use psychology tricks. It's a complicated task. And I still fail. So I'm still learning from this. But I try to implement this with everyone. So for instance, my classmates. I don't expect them to do much. I've fallen. Fuck, how do I say this? I've fallen victim to this. We had a project for school, and I was the one that started, like, the Word thing, the Word document. And we had strict rules. We had to use this amount of spacing, at the second half of. Fuck, I can't speak. Like, it was really specific. You have to use this heading with this size, and I did that by myself. And I did half of it. In the second half was supposed to be made by another classmate. And I sent it to him like that. But I didn't tell him to keep in mind the settings. So he just copy and pasted all the information, but it was all over the place. Everything was wrong. And I just had to put in more work. But imagine if I just did tell him, yo, make sure to look over the document that tells you the settings again. If you have any questions, just ask me so I can help you. It would have helped him paste the information correctly the first time instead of having me trying to go through it again and trying to make the smallest mistakes to like solve the smallest mistakes he did. Taking 5 minutes of preparation to just tell him to make sure to redo it if he has any questions to ask me would have saved me half an hour or more of work. It goes much deeper than this. Imagine having the woman of your dreams, your dream wife, and you're 40 and you're married and you have a child, but you take her for too granted. So you wake up with her next to you, and you don't hug her and tell her good morning and you tell her you love her. I hope my laptop is not interrupting you. You don't hug her and you tell her that you love her. No, you just get out of bed, groggy, and you go to the bathroom and you just do your thing. You get into the kitchen, you see her cooking a meal, but you don't thank her. You're just on your phone, scrolling, waiting for her to give you the meal. And she's slowly starting to resent you. Imagine having an argument with her, and you keep poking at each other because because of a small misunderstanding at the start. And that misunderstanding grew and grew and grew just because you took her for granted. You thought, oh, it makes sense, so I don't need to say it. There's no negatives to treating someone dumber than they are. The only negatives come when you treat them like they're smarter, but they're not. So it's a negative for both of you. You get frustrated because the person doesn't understand you, and the other person gets frustrated because they don't understand. And you act towards them like they need to understand, but they can't. But imagine if you flip it. You act towards them like they're dumb. You don't have to be direct about it. Just be casual. Just be like low key about it. When you are explaining something, why is my laptop fucking taking off? Fuck. When you're it's breaking my flow. When you're explaining something, just put in a bit more detail. Maybe they know, maybe they don't. But you will know if they're smarter than you're actually thinking. So let's say a person is talking to you. Has this ever happened to you? They're talking to you and they're telling you each and every single step like you're a baby. Yeah, it's frustrating. But imagine if the person doesn't tell you any steps and you just can't figure out one single step. You're again frustrated. So when you talk with a person, go as low as possible, as low as you can, especially if you don't know them. And if you realize, oh, I know that. If they tell you, oh, I know that. Oh, stop telling me like this. I know that. Bump up the level. Bump it up to a few levels below his baseline of smartness. If you really care about the person, if you really want to change them, sure, go a bit above. But if you want to save yourself from hours upon hours wasted and hours of frustration, just go a few levels lower than his baseline. I'm so pissed off about my laptop. If you have any idea on how to make this thing less quiet, like a lot more quiet, please let me know in the comments. So, the end of the video. Treat people and act towards them a few levels below their baseline of smartness. I hope you enjoyed the video, bro. I hope it made sense. Click the first link in the description to join my private coaching that not many people know of. Book a call with me to know if we're a good fit for it. See you later, bro. Mwah.